Admiral Zixthai slouched in her monitoring station chair, her bioluminescent patches dimming with boredom, as she reviewed yet another pre-contact civilization assessment. After 3 centuries in the Galactic Federation's First Contact Division, she'd seen it all. Or so she thought. Ambassador, her sensor specialist Rith called out, multiple eye stalks swiveling in agitation. You need to see this data stream from Sol 3. Earth, Zixthai corrected automatically, stretching her crystalline appendages. They prefer Earth. What's so urgent about another primitive civilization's broadcasts? It's their information-sharing networks. The patterns are unlike anything in our database. Zixthai glided over to Rith's station, expecting to find the usual pre-spaceflight civilization markers. Entertainment broadcasts, primitive information exchange, basic technological development tracking. Instead, her compound eyes widened at the scrolling data. They're live-streaming weapon tests. For entertainment. Not just that. Rith's voice trembled slightly. Look at their comment sections. They're collaboratively improving the designs, in real time. For fun. Zixthai watched in growing alarm as humans on something called YouTube dissected the performance characteristics of their latest fighter jet prototype. The comments weren't filled with fear or concern. They were enthusiastic, technical, analytical. The thrust vectoring could be improved by modifying the nozzle geometry. One comment read, "Here's my simulation data. Great analysis. I ran some CFD models on your proposal. Check out these results." Anyone else noticed the radar cross-section could be reduced by 23% with these surface modifications. "By the void," Zixthai whispered. "They're crowdsourcing military research and development. As a hobby." She quickly pulled up more data streams, forums dedicated to analyzing historical battles, channels comparing weapon systems across centuries, communities of what they called defense technology enthusiasts, sharing detailed technical documentation and proposing improvements. "Pull up their entertainment content," she ordered. The screens filled with something humans called movies, spacecraft dogfights, ground combat, naval warfare. But it wasn't the violence that disturbed her. Most species had some form of conflict in their media. It was the attention to technical detail, the loving close-ups of weapon systems, the passionate debates about accuracy in the discussion threads. They gamified it too, Rith noted, bringing up something called War Thunder. They're simulating military vehicles and combat scenarios with exceptional physical accuracy. Fourth, fun. Zixthai felt her chromatophores shift to emergency alert crimson. Show me their civilian technology sector. The images that followed only confirmed her worst fears. Humans took ordinary vehicles and modified them for enhanced performance. They built custom computers, robots, and drones in their homes. They had entire communities dedicated to what they called makers and DIY engineering. They're not just good at adapting military technology, she realized. They're good at adapting any technology for military applications, and they actively enjoy the process. A notification chimed. The automated systems had flagged early quantum mechanics research from several human institutions. They were approaching the threshold for first contact protocols. "Admiral," Rith's voice was barely a whisper. "Standard procedure requires us to initiate diplomatic relations once they achieve quantum communication capability." "I know." Zixthai began composing her report to the High Council. "But we need to be extremely careful about what technology we expose them to. These humans, they don't just develop military technology out of necessity. They don't just adapt it out of desperation. They innovate because they're curious. They improve designs because they find it entertaining. They collaborate on weapons development as a social activity." She paused, watching a human video titled "Top 10 Most Awesome Tank Sounds." Wait for number 3. The comments were filled with detailed technical discussions about engine performance characteristics. "In all my centuries of first contact assessment, I've never seen anything like this. Most species develop weapons because they have to. Humans develop weapons because they want to. Because they enjoy the engineering challenge. Because they think it's fun. She added a final note to her report. Extreme caution recommended. This species doesn't just understand military technology. They love it. And if we're not careful about how we handle first contact, they're going to absolutely love ours. The report was sent. Now all she could do was wait for the High Council's response and hope they understood the implications. Humanity wasn't dangerous because they were aggressive. Plenty of species were aggressive. Humanity was dangerous because they turned military technology into a hobby, weapons development into entertainment, and combat vehicle modification into a social activity. As if to emphasize her point, another notification popped up. A human channel dedicated to restoring ancient weapons had just gone live. She watched in fascination as they lovingly reconstructed a primitive projectile weapon, discussing metallurgy and mechanical engineering with the passion most species reserve for art or music. "May the void help us all," she muttered. "We're about to make first contact with a species that thinks weapon development is fun." The High Council, in their infinite wisdom, had chosen to ignore Admiral Zixthai's warnings. Not only that, they'd selected the absolute worst possible time and location for first contact. Dubai International Defense Exhibition and Conference, 2025. Optimal cultural integration opportunity, they'd said. Maximum diplomatic visibility, they'd said. What could possibly go wrong? They'd said. Now, as Zixthai stood on the command deck of the diplomatic vessel, Peaceful Convergence, watching thousands of defense industry professionals practically salivating at the sight of their ships, she mentally composed her resignation letter. "Admiral," her new diplomatic liaison officer Ninert reported, antennae twitching nervously. "The humans are requesting technical specifications for our hull metallurgy and something called maintenance manuals." Denied, Zixthai said automatically. "Standard first contact protocols. Incoming." Rith shouted from the sensor station. Zixthai's combat training kicked in. Shields up. Evasive. "No, sorry, Admiral." Rith's chromatophores flushed embarrassed purple. "Incoming. Job offers. At least 30 major human defense corporations are sending recruitment packages. They're particularly interested in our propulsion engineering team." A human voice crackled over their communications array. "This is Dr. Rajesh Patel, head of advanced research at Lockheed Martin. We couldn't help but notice your plasma containment field geometry. Have you considered applying metamaterials for improved efficiency? We have some interesting proposals." Before Zixthai could respond, another voice cut in. Professor Isabella Torres, MIT Department of Aerospace Engineering. "The quantum vacuum fluctuation dampers on your drive system are fascinating. We'd love to discuss potential collaborations." "Admiral," Nert interrupted, "the humans have already posted detailed technical analyses of our ship designs online. They're crowdsourcing improvement suggestions. Someone called Rocket Dude 42 has proposed a rather innovative modification to our inertial dampeners." Zixthai watched in horror as human social media exploded with technical discussions. They hadn't even landed yet, and humanity was already trying to reverse engineer and improve their technology. The worst part, Rith noted, is that some of their suggestions actually make sense. The landing zone below was a hive of activity. Human engineers and technical specialists were setting up sophisticated scanning equipment. Corporate executives were preparing presentation materials. And was that? Yes, someone had already set up a merchandise stand selling T-shirts with surprisingly accurate technical drawings of their ships. "Admiral." A new voice joined the chorus of human communications. Lieutenant James Chin, United States Space Force Office of Technology Integration. "We're preparing a technical exchange symposium and would be honored if your engineering team would participate in a panel discussion on advanced propulsion systems." Zixthai felt a headache building in all three of her brains. Remind me again why we couldn't have made first contact at one of their art museums, or perhaps a nice quiet botanical garden. Oh, Newart perked up. Speaking of gardens, several human agricultural technology firms are very interested in our hydroponic systems. Apparently, they see military applications in sustainable forward operating bases. Of course they did. Humans could probably find military applications in children's toys. The situation deteriorated further when Director of Ship Systems Polax made the mistake of mentioning their standard issue maintenance nanites. Did you say self-repairing materials? The excitement in the human voices was palpable, like autonomous molecular reconstruction. For armor plating, Admiral Rith reported, the humans have started a live-streamed conference session titled Applications of Alien Nanotechnology in Next-Generation Defense Systems. Current viewership, 3 million and climbing. A notification chimed. The High Council was calling, probably wondering why first contact was proceeding so smoothly. Zixthai took a moment to compose herself before accepting the transmission. Admiral, High Counselor Vex appeared in holographic form, beaming with satisfaction. The diplomatic mission appears to be exceeding expectations. The humans seem absolutely fascinated by our technology. Yes, Zixthai said carefully. That's precisely the problem. Problem? Nonsense. Their enthusiasm for technological exchange is a positive sign of cultural compatibility. On one of the monitor screens, a human YouTube channel was already posting a detailed analysis of their ship's sensor array configuration. The comment section was filled with suggested improvements. With all due respect, Counselor, Zixthai tried one last time. They're not just being diplomatic. They're engineering. Actively. The humans have already organized 5 different technical conferences around our technology. They're live-streaming detailed technical analysis. They've started corporate research initiatives, and she checked the latest report. Apparently someone called Gearhead Gaming is already developing a simulation of our propulsion systems for something called Kerbal Space Program 2. Wonderful, Vex exclaimed. Such enthusiasm for learning. At that moment, a new message flashed across the communications display. The humans were requesting permission to demonstrate their own military technology. Apparently, they wanted to compare notes. Oh no, Zixthai muttered. Oh yes, came the enthusiastic response from about 3,000 human engineers. As the first human fighter jets began their demonstration flights, Zixthai noticed something deeply troubling. The humans weren't showing off to intimidate them. They were showing off to impress them, like eager students presenting their work to admired teachers. And that was infinitely more dangerous. Day 3 of the Interstellar Defense Technology Exchange Summit. The humans had rebranded their exhibition within hours of first contact, brought fresh chaos to Admiral Zixthai's command. They've done what? She asked, all 4 hands massaging her temple ridges. Lieutenant Cax, her security chief, repeated the report with a kind of forced calm that suggested internal screaming. A group of human engineers from something called Boston Dynamics have submitted a 400-page proposal for integrating our quantum computing systems with their robotic platforms. They're calling it Project Cyberdyne. Please tell me they didn't name that after. Yes, Admiral. Apparently, it's a cultural reference. They think it's funny. Zixthai had learned more about human popular culture in 3 days than she had in years of observation, mostly because humans couldn't stop making references to their science fiction when discussing actual alien technology. Admiral, Rith called out, their usual calm professionalism cracking. The humans have started a competition. What kind of competition? Zixthai asked, dreading the answer. They're calling it the Alien Tech Integration Challenge. Teams of engineers are competing to propose the most innovative applications of our technology. The winning team gets corporate funding and patents. A holographic display showed the competition standings. Currently in the lead was a joint team from SpaceX and DARPA, with a proposal for adapting alien shield technology to protect orbital habitats. In second place, a consortium of European universities had designed a theoretical fusion reactor using principles derived from their propulsion system. That's actually quite impressive, Officer Nerd admitted, reviewing the technical specifications. They've solved several efficiency problems we struggled with for decades. Do not encourage them, Sixth Eye hissed. But it was too late. Dr. Rashida Hassan, the human liaison assigned to their ship, burst onto the bridge with the kind of enthusiasm that had become terrifyingly familiar. Admiral, you have to see this. The quantum computing team from Google has figured out how to optimize your navigation algorithms using something called machine learning. They estimate it could improve FTL efficiency by 23%. Impossible, Plalax scoffed. Our systems are already. He paused, reviewing the data. Oh my. That's actually brilliant. And that's not all, Dr. Hassan continued, practically bouncing. A group of materials scientists from Japan has proposed a new metamaterial structure for your hull plating that could enhance energy dissipation by 40%. They want to schedule a demonstration. Zixthai felt her chromatophores shift to a particularly uncommodious shade of puce. The humans weren't just studying their technology. They were improving it. Rapidly, enthusiastically, and with a creativity that bordered on terrifying. Admiral, Rith interrupted, you need to see this social media trend. The main screen filled with something humans called TikTok. Videos of young human engineers excitedly explaining alien technology concepts, complete with annotations and visual effects. One video, titled 5 Mind-Blowing Things About Alien Shield Tech, Number 4 Will Shock You, had already garnered millions of views. They're teaching each other. Sixth, I realized with growing horror. They're turning our classified technology into educational content. Oh, you'll love this then, Dr. Hassan beamed. MIT and Stanford have already announced new graduate programs in xenotechnology integration. The application numbers are breaking records. A new alert flashed across the command screens. Someone had just uploaded a detailed technical analysis of their quantum communication system to something called GitHub. It had already been forked 3,000 times. Admiral, Lieutenant Cax reported grimly, multiple human corporations are filing patents related to our technology. Their legal teams are citing novel applications and significant improvements as justification. They can't do that. Plax protested. It's our technology. Actually, Dr. Hassan interjected, under Earth patent law, significant improvements and novel applications of existing technology can be. She was interrupted by a commotion from the landing bay. A group of humans from something called NASA JPL had arrived with a prototype. They'd apparently spent the last 72 hours adapting alien sensor technology to enhance Mars rover capabilities. Look at the resolution improvement, one engineer exclaimed, showing comparison data. And we've barely scratched the surface. Give us a week with your quantum imaging systems, and we cold. No, Zixthai shouted. No more technology exchanges. No more demonstrations. No more. Admiral, Rith cut in. The humans have announced something called a hackathon this weekend. They're inviting engineers worldwide to develop applications for our atmospheric containment fields. Current registration is at 50,000 participants. Dr. Hassan nodded enthusiastically. The winning team gets to work with your engineers on implementation. We thought it would be a great way to crowdsource innovation. Crowdsource. Zixthai's translator struggled with the concept. You mean you're going to let thousands of humans simultaneously attempt to modify our technology? Of course, it's the fastest way to explore all possible applications. We've already set up cloud computing resources and shared development environments. The documentation is being translated into 12 languages. Zixthai slumped in her command chair, watching as humanity's collective engineering enthusiasm systematically dismantled centuries of carefully guarded technological secrets. They weren't just learning. They were teaching, sharing, improving, and most terrifyingly of all, enjoying themselves. A new message appeared on her console. The High Council wanted an update on the remarkably smooth first contact proceedings. Zixthai began composing her response, then stopped as another notification caught her eye. Admiral, Cax reported with resigned horror. Someone just uploaded a tutorial titled Alien Tech Basics for Beginners to YouTube. It has 6 million views and an accompanying Discord server. The humans weren't just revealing their technology to the galaxy. They were making it go viral. 6 months after first contact, Admiral Zixthai found herself in an underground facility that the humans called a makerspace, watching with a mixture of awe and horror as civilian engineers casually repurposed alien technology. So we figured, explained Marcus Rodriguez, a formerly amateur engineer now leading a quantum mechanics research team, if your containment fields can hold plasma, they could probably revolutionize fusion reactor design. Check this out. The prototype on the workbench was a horrifying amalgamation of human and alien technology. They'd somehow integrated parts from a vintage microwave, 3 gaming consoles, and what appeared to be a modified Tesla coil with crystalline alien components. Is that safe? Officer Nerd asked, antennae twitching nervously. Probably. Marcus grinned. We're live streaming all our tests on Twitch. The community helped spot potential issues in real time. Across the facility, other makers were equally busy. A group calling themselves the Quantum Tinkerers Collective had adapted alien sensor technology to create what they called next-generation medical imaging. Their prototype looked suspiciously like it had been built using parts from old Xbox controllers. Admiral, Rith whispered, checking their datapad. These humans aren't even professionals. They're hobbyists. Correction, Zixthai sighed. They were hobbyists. Now they're leading experts in alien technology integration. Some of them have more practical experience with our systems than our own engineers. A cheer erupted from another workstation where a team had successfully miniaturized their shield technology. The device looked like a cross between a smartphone and a lava lamp, but according to the readings, it actually worked. We call it the Pocket Shield, announced Dr. Jasmine Wang, former high school physics teacher and current CEO of Quantum Shield Dynamics. Perfect for personal protection. We're thinking of marketing it to first responders initially, then expanding to civilian applications. You're commercializing it? Plax asked, aghast. Of course. We've already got venture capital funding. Our Kickstarter raised $12 million in the first hour. Want to see the prototype line? Before Zixthai could protest, they were led to a production area where humans were assembling personal shield generators with the same casual enthusiasm they might show while building custom computers. The real breakthrough, Jasmine continued, was figuring out how to power it with modified lithium-ion batteries. The alien power cells were effective, but too expensive for mass production. So we crowdsourced the problem. This guy in Nebraska figured out how to adapt Tesla's battery technology to. Zixthai stopped listening, her attention caught by a teenage human giving what appeared to be a tutorial on quantum field manipulation, on something called TikTok. Don't forget to like and subscribe, the young human said cheerfully. Next week we'll look at optimizing containment field harmonics using parts from your old 5 pounds. Admiral, Cax reported through her earpiece, the human maker movement has spread globally. We're tracking over 10,000 community workshops actively experimenting with alien technology integration. How are they getting the components? Zixthai demanded. They're making them. Someone published open-source designs for basic alien tech manufacturing using modified 3D printers. They call it the Open Alien Project. At another workstation, a group of retired engineers had apparently recreated their quantum communication system using salvaged smartphone parts and something called a Raspberry Pi. The latency isn't great, admitted Harold Peterson, former Boeing engineer turned alien tech enthusiast, but we're working on it. The Discord community has some promising ideas about quantum entanglement optimization. Discord, Community, Plex asked weakly. Oh yeah, we've got about 500,000 members now. Everyone from professional engineers to high school students. Amazing what you can accomplish with collaborative problem solving. Want to see our latest project? Before they could decline, Harold proudly displayed a device that made Zixthai's chromatophores flash emergency crimson. They'd managed to reverse engineer and miniaturize their long-range sensor technology. We're calling it the quantum scope, Harold beamed. Perfect for astronomy clubs, weather monitoring, search and rescue. The applications are endless. And potentially catastrophic, Zixthai muttered, but the humans weren't listening. They were too busy innovating. A notification chimed. Another human technology integration forum had gone viral. This one focused on combining alien materials science with something called Arduino projects. Admiral, Rith reported, checking the latest data. Human technological development has accelerated by an estimated 200 years in the past 6 months. They're not just learning our technology. They're evolving it in ways we never considered. Of course we are. Marcus chimed in, overhearing. That's the fun part. Hey, want to see what happens when you combine your quantum field generators with blockchain technology? No, all the aliens shouted simultaneously. But it was too late. The workshop revolution had begun. Humanity had turned alien technology into a hobby, and there was no force in the galaxy that could stop a determined hobbyist with access to advanced technology and a YouTube tutorial. Somewhere in the facility, another cheer erupted. Someone had just successfully teleported a pizza using modified microwave parts and alien containment field technology. For science, the humans shouted enthusiastically. For doom, Zixthai muttered, watching as centuries of carefully controlled technological development were cheerfully dismantled by humans with 3D printers and too much curiosity. The galaxy would never be the same. 1 year after first contact, the Galactic Federation hosted its annual Defense Technology Symposium. For the first time in its 50,000-year history, Earth was not only invited but given a featured presentation slot. Admiral Zixthai sat in the front row, watching with a mixture of pride and terror as Dr. Rashida Hassan took the stage. The human delegation had brought what they called a small sampling of their technological achievements. The cargo manifest was longer than most peace treaties. Distinguished members of the Galactic Federation, Rashida began, her enthusiasm undimmed by the gravity of the occasion. Earth is honored to present our first contribution to interstellar defense technology. The massive holographic display activated, showing what appeared to be a standard Federation battlecruiser. Then it transformed. By combining your quantum field technology with what we call metamaterials, Rashida explained, we've developed adaptive hull plating that can reconfigure itself in real time. We call it Project Chameleon. The demonstration showed the ship's exterior shifting, adapting, evolving in response to different threats. The audience of alien military officials leaned forward in their seats. But that's just the beginning, Rashida continued, grinning. Thanks to our global maker community, we've miniaturized the technology. Personal defense shields are now as common on Earth as smartphones. Our emergency services use them standard issue. Impossible, muttered a Federation general. The power requirements alone. Oh, that was a challenge, Rashida nodded. Until a teenager in Lagos figured out how to adapt quantum capacitance principles to lithium-ion battery technology. Her TikTok explaining the process got 20 million views. We call it the nanocell. Currently in mass production. Admiral Zixthai watched as the alien military leaders tried to process this information. Humans hadn't just mastered their technology. They'd revolutionized it, miniaturized it, and made it accessible to the general public. Next up, Rashida continued, we'd like to demonstrate our improvements to your sensor technology. A joint team from MIT and the Quantum Tinkerers Collective discovered that by introducing neural network processing, the presentation continued for 2 hours. Humans had taken every piece of alien technology they could get their hands on, and not only improved it, but found applications the Federation had never imagined. And finally, Rashida announced, "We're particularly excited about our contribution to space combat doctrine, using principles derived from online gaming communities." Online gaming? A Federation admiral asked weakly. Yes, we'd found that massively multiplayer simulation environments are excellent for testing new tactical concepts. Our space combat AI was trained using data from over 10 million players of stellar warfare online. The results have been remarkable. The demonstration that followed showed combat maneuvers that made veteran fleet commanders gape in astonishment. Humans had turned space warfare into a game, then used the game to revolutionize actual space warfare. After the presentation, during what humans called a networking reception, Admiral Zixthai found herself cornered by Federation military officials. How? Demanded Fleet Commander Vex. How did they advance so quickly? They made it fun, Zixthai explained simply. They turned our technology into a hobby, our classified systems into open-source projects, our military secrets into YouTube tutorials. They created communities around it. They made it accessible to everyone from professors to teenagers. They gamified it. But that's not how military technology development works. Vex protested. It is now, Rashida interjected, joining them with a fresh cup of coffee. Oh, by the way, Admiral, you'll love this. Remember that quantum communication system your engineers said couldn't be improved? A group of high school students in Tokyo just increased its efficiency by 40%. They posted the specs on GitHub this morning. Want to see? Vex's chromatophores went pale. High school students. Posted publicly. Of course, open collaboration is key to rapid innovation. Speaking of which, we're hosting the first Interstellar Maker Fair next month. Sort of a combination technology exhibition, hackathon, and science fair. You should come. We're expecting about 1 million participants. As Rashida cheerfully detailed plans for what sounded like the galaxy's largest uncontrolled technology exchange program, Zixthai noticed something remarkable. The other alien species weren't afraid of humanity's military prowess. They were afraid of humanity's enthusiasm. Because humans hadn't just mastered alien technology. They'd democratized it. They'd turned it into entertainment, education, and social media content. They'd made it accessible, enjoyable, and most terrifyingly of all, fun. Oh, and one more thing, Rashida added brightly. We're launching an interstellar version of Kickstarter next week. Anyone in the galaxy can propose technology projects and get crowdfunding. We're calling it StarterUp. The beta test already has 10 million users. The gathered alien officials exchanged horrified glances. Humanity wasn't just advancing technology anymore. They were spreading their methodology throughout the galaxy. Soon, every species would have access to makerspaces, online tutorials, and crowdfunding platforms. The universe would never be the same, and somehow, it was all going to be live-streamed. To innovation, Rashida raised her coffee cup cheerfully. To chaos, Zixthai muttered, but she found herself smiling despite herself. Because in the end, that's what made humans special. They didn't just adapt to new technology, they enjoyed it. They celebrated it. They shared it. And maybe, just maybe, that enthusiasm was exactly what the galaxy needed. The end.